Welcome everyone to the Fountains of Truth. We're back, and this night, this episode, this talk is going to be interesting. You guys ready? We have RL and Keith in the house. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic.
Doing great. I'm excited.
You guys all excited? Yeah, we're all like at the edge of our seats. We are about to talk about religion, and we know that that is a touchy subject. But we share our truths, and we all have different perspectives. We are open to hearing each other's perspectives, and we hope that you as well resonate with either one of us, all three or none, but that you're open minded and that you receive this with well intent. So let's get started. What do we want to talk about with truth?
That was well stated.
About religion.
I think this is about the episode where we start losing subscribers, but then gaining new subscribers. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Hey, you got to shift and rearrange sometimes. It's got to be done in order to get things how you want them.
Yeah, and when you speak truth, man, if you speak truth for popularity, it can't be very truthful, right?
Very true. Yeah.
So it is what it is. If you want to hear the truth, cool. Let's go. If not, that's cool too.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's got their own, perspective. So that's really we just want to kind of hear everybody out. You never know. The key is to be open, because you never know. Like you didn't come here knowing everything. You came here to dismantle what you were conditioned to know.
That's a beautiful segue.
Go ahead.
Because I think, I'm curious to see how you guys define religion before we even get this conversation started. Because I want to make sure, because I feel like in our transgender episode, maybe we should have established that from the jump, so that we all kind of know how we define religion. But I'll start off. Like, I think religion in and of itself is the institution, the organized institution of propagating an idea based on guilt and or previously force.
Oh,
that's my definition of
control.
Religion. Control.
Shit.
Control.
Yeah.
Control disguised as love. Much like what's the movie where the lady puts her hair down the Rapunzel, and the mom pretends like she loves her, but she really doesn't. She just wants to control her and keep her in the castle. Mm-hmm. That's religion. That's religion to me.
Damn.
Okay. So I guess we're gonna hear. We're gonna hear a little bit. We're gonna hear a little bit more about that and where that came from, huh?
Love it.
All right.
I will. Hey, I agree. Everything you just said about the definition of religion. I mean, that's pretty fucking on point, bro. I mean, I can't add anything really. I think I'm right there with you. So Doctor? I think we're on the same wavelength.
I mean, have you looked into the etymology of religion?
Please do tell.
No, I'm asking. I'm just wondering.
If I was put on the spot, I would not feel comfortable answering that question, but I think I know where you're going with it, so please.
I mean, the way that I look at it overall is a structure. It's a system. It's man-made. So anything man-made is going to be twisted. It's going to be interpreted. It's going to be just like the telephone game. It's going to turn around and be something that it isn't. So
ego is going to get involved.
Of course, because it's man-made. It's the human mind is going to corrupt the word of God, and the word is God. So there's no way to actually put God in a box, and yet that's what it is. They've tried to put God into a box.
Okay, so I want to let's keep it going. So we talked about what we all think religion is. Well, then what is our definition of God?
See the definition of God in. Go ahead.
No, go.
So there's so many things, because number one, it doesn't have a name. It's like it's undescribable. It's unnameable. It's everything. It's nothing. It's all. It's within us. It's
you can't limit the
above
unlimited.
us. It's everything. So there are different aspects once you start fractalizing and breaking that down and breaking it down more and and then coming into this material world and then defining the duality of it, when it's actually more than that outside of this reality. So you can't really put a name on it. So man has put a name on it and has turned something good and taken out an O from it and turned it into God, and put something evil and put a D in front of it and turned it into the devil to describe both duality. So I think that once you see how all of that starts to change names and change stories and change interpretations, we all can't have a definition of what God is unless we experience God itself.
And in
Mm.
order to experience God himself, you have to break away from religion, because religion teaches you the opposite of the path to feel and be what she just said. And that's
Right,
why it's some
because you
bullshit.
you go outwardly for something to save you, to come a messenger to give you some message, instead of relying on the God that's within you, the kingdom that is within you, because it says, lo here, lo there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. And so if you understand that and you know that it's within you and that you reach God within you and you see God face to face within you, well, then you don't need to go to an outside source. You go to the temple that is you, the temple that is made with no saw or hands, because it is the temple right in between
Yo,
your head. It is your mind, your consciousness, your everything. And so when you rely on the God that's in you, you do not need to rely on a priest, a father, or anything. And the Bible says, don't call anyone your father, because I am your father. And yet, who do we call priests? We call them fathers. And what we call all these people messiahs and gurus, and we just worship them, but yet we don't worship the actual Christ that is within us, which is what we are supposed to do. And religion doesn't teach that.
Shit.
well, too,
Go
like,
ahead and fan that mic off real quick, bro. It's kind of on fire right now.
would you guys agree that we were created in God's image, right?
Okay, so this is where I got.
Uh
Okay.
oh. Nerve.
Couple things. No, not at all. Not at all. First thing, I'm just pointing things out because I was in observe mode. You know what I'm saying? Because like when you guys get going, it's a beautiful thing. So I get to play the audience for a few minutes. And obviously this right here probably just came from prior conditioning. But like Keith, you referred to God as himself, right? It's something that just happens, right, through conditioning and patriarchy and
Yeah.
all that other bullshit.
Can I say something real quick though?
Yeah, go for
Because I think it's important, especially with what's going on in the world of he, them, thee, theirs, bipolarism, and all that good stuff,
it. Right.
right? Like the use of the word him for me is not does not possess a gender. Okay, him is just the word that is described just as a preposition, not as a defining gender. So in other words, when I use that word, I'm not thinking the man God. I'm him, much like in Spanish. If there's one girl, right? Help me out here, right? Like if you have to have all girls. If there's a man in the group, it becomes a masculine,
Yeah.
right? It's a
Mhm.
structure of language. So I just wanted to say that real
Yeah.
quick.
Okay.
But
I
but
got you.
but I do agree that part of it is conditioning,
Mhm.
because at some
Oh,
point
absolutely.
it turns into
For some
it.
people,
At some point it turns into it, and it isn't even do it justice. So
yeah, but it feel less than. It is like it
uh
small, but
it,
him is
no,
like
it is, it could be big, it could be anything. It is I,
yeah.
the big I,
All right, sorry to
the
interrupt,
I
man.
am.
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, and that's why I love this conversation, especially with us, because like Joanne, the way you break it down metaphysically, there really isn't anyone better. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna break it down in such a metaphysical way to kind of show and explain to people in detail what you mean by the God is within you, the Christ is within you. Because most people, just listening to you talk, the first thing that popped into my head, that first intuitive hit I got was, damn, most people aren't on that consciousness level to even understand what you're saying.
I
And
know.
that's why so many people revert to religion, because it's easy, it's simple. I don't have to do a lot. I can just follow
Mhm.
these rules and hopefully, I make it to paradise or heaven or whatever the case may be. And I remember something that somebody told me a long time ago when I asked them about why they were Catholic versus another denomination. And they told me is that Catholicism just makes it extremely simple for people who don't know how to connect with God. They give you all these things, all these steps, all these rituals to do to help that connection. So when you look at it from a consciousness level, what you're saying is a little bit advanced. That's level up thinking. That's I've been through this, I've studied this, I've read books, I got my a degree in this. You know what I'm saying? I'm a doctor in this. Versus you got a majority of people who are dumb, deaf, and blind who don't know any of that. And they look at religion as, something that's going to help them find salvation because they don't even understand that they can do it themselves. Now, saying all that to come back to myself, God to me, like when I hear the term God now, it's obviously a lot different than when I used to hear it before. To me, we are all God. Like when I hear God, I think of the collective consciousness of the world because we're all connected, quantum entanglement, all that shit. And, we all form God. When you say God in his image per se, which is, in the Holy Bible, that's what it's speaking to. Like at the end of the day, like we all form God. There isn't a separate entity. Like we are all a piece of that. We are all fractals of that.
We're all atoms.
Yes.
We're all atoms and cells, which are selves. We are ourselves, right? Because if each cell put together creates something, then that's what we all are.
So you would agree we're created in God's image, right? We are an extension of perfection, right?
But see, extension means that we're extending from something, right? So what are we extending from? Like if we're all like in like my vision, like the way I interpret it is that we are all God. So we're not extending from anything. We're all equal parts of God. There's not one person or one entity or one anything that's more
Right.
God than I am. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. When I say extending, I just mean extending from the source energy of God himself. That wherever that
From
is.
the non-physical, from
Correct.
like the
From the
like let's
ethers.
just say the center point, the creator
Right.
versus the created.
So if we're created in God's image, we are by definition perfection, right? But unfortunately, we have to achieve perfection in the land of duality, right? So my point is we talk about religion and we talk about, to me, religion. I'm worshiping a God. Let's talk about the what it's like to be religious. I'm worshiping a
For sure.
God that will send me to hell, right? That will put me in
Right.
purgatory. I'm sending a God, or basically having to tell all my dirty secrets to a priest because I can't do this myself. Somebody has to grant me the power of forgiveness, right? I need to drink the blood. I need to eat the body. I need to do all these things external of me in order for me to hope that when I die, I get to return to that which I was extended from, that perfection. Okay, cool. I hear you. That sounds like a lot of fun. Now let me tell you my story. Let me tell you my religion, right? My religion is just what Joanna described. My body was created in perfection that can only be attained through the Ten Commandments, through virtues, through living a life and respecting my mind, body, and spirit in such a way that allows me to reach perfection, to activate and reconnect and become, in my own individual way, what God is meant to be expressed as. But that path can only be walked and attained by someone who does the real work. You can't fake the funk. You can't lie. You can't go on Sundays. You got to live it, talk it, breathe it, and become it.
And that's
Sign me
hard.
the fuck up for that religion because that makes a whole lot of fucking sense to me. Right?
But
And
it's
guess
but
what? If
okay.
you fail, you come back and you're going to do it again.
And you just keep doing
And you're
it.
going to do it again. And guess
So
what?
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The calendar's going to adjust because if your ass can't figure it out, at some point we're going to be in an astrological position, a different world where you just become a light body because it's not that hard, right? It gets easier. We're just in a real shitty part of the
Transition.
transition right now in Pisces or in Aquarius.
Yeah.
Or in what are we in?
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about like in the big you guys,
Yeah,
but
right.
yeah.
Okay, so in a roundabout way, then it's not necessarily religion that you have an issue with. It's the actual religions that you have an issue with. Because like what you just said, like if that's what was being taught, if that's what the organizers of these religions were professing, this is what you would do, this is how you need to live, these are the virtues, but you can't find it elsewhere, you got to find it within you. If people would do that, then you would be okay with that religion.
Well,
Not like he wasn't. You weren't being literal about
there
sign
would
me
there
up for
would
that
be there
religion.
would be no need for a
There is
church.
no religion. It
There
would be
would be no
yourself.
need. The gathering would simply be a barbecue or a
Right, right.
cornicue or a
Yeah.
fruitarian queue, right? That's what it would be.
Right.
It
Yeah,
wouldn't be
yeah.
church. It would be fellowship in the celebration of life, man,
It'd
and
be
that doesn't
community.
have to happen in
Service
walls.
for
Yes,
others, things like that. Which
right.
I
Word.
understand that a lot of people that are religious say, oh, I do it for the fellowship and I do it for,
Yeah.
service for others, and they have their intentions, and to them, they fill themselves up with. They say the Holy Spirit, but I'm gonna say it's emotion. Other story, but that all of that is just based on where they are. That's just where they are on their journey of spiritualism, of evolving in a conscious way, of being able to get to the point from being the masses and exoterically checking the boxes of, well, I did my first communion, okay, check that. I did
Right.
my confirmation, check that. Instead of all of that, getting to the point where, okay, my own religion is, okay, I follow the internal instructions that were made for us to be able to reach, climb that Jacob's ladder back up to reach God, to go back to the light. It's like we were light and we have come to this non-physical, to the physical world of duality where there's darkness, and we have to find our way back to the light. It's back to ourselves. And the ego part gets in the way. And that ego part is very conditioned by the beliefs from these religions. And the sad part is that every religion thinks that they're right.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. That's
Well,
that's interesting stuff. I mean, I love the way you guys put it down. Um it's interesting because like it goes back to what I said. It just seems it's so simple to attach yourself to a religion. And obviously it happens through generational stuff and traditions and tribalism and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you hit the nail on the head when you said that the conditioning aspect of it, because I stand firm when I say that I feel like religion is the number one conditioning tool of all time. Like I think like all these systems that are built and everything that has is basically controlling society stems from religion. Like it's like the oldest conditioning tool, and obviously it's still going strong today, maybe not as strong as it was say 50 years ago, but still very strong. But what it's birthed in its wake is like incredible, because they learn so much for how to control the mind. And when you're talking about, I mean, look, there's so many religions, so many that we don't even know the names of, that were probably in African villages, fucking 10 million years ago. You know what I mean? But as far as the ones that we know, Hinduism being obviously extremely old, and, the different Egyptian religions and whatnot, they all have similar themes. They all do the same shit. And the kicker is that at those times, and I will keep saying this, is that 9 out of 10 people were dumb, deaf, and blind. Like they couldn't even read. Like imagine, like just like try to understand the intellect of these people, and then that 1% or that 10% or that one person or whatever, every 10, has those abilities, has that intellect. And they have these tools, these religious tools, this information, and they only give you specks of it, and they give you different aspects of it, and they use it to just literally control you. And 9 out of these 10 people, they don't know any better.
I
And
mean,
then
because they use truths covered in lies. Like all of them are still carrying a deep truth, right? They follow a book, and all the scriptures carry that underlying truth to it, the myth behind it, the anatomical, physiological aspect of it that most people don't know about, which is the 1, 2, 3 step rules of how to ascend and how to bring everything back up. But they don't, that's the part that they don't teach, though. That's the part that's kept in lies. But at the same time, I feel like metaphysically it's done so that you have to go within in order to understand these things that are written in layers. You have to step away from that. You have to, it's kind of like a game. It's like you come into this game and it's like, oh, you got to go through religion though and see, you got to escape it though. You got to move on to perfection. Are you able to get more spiritual, or are you going to get stuck into, the hamster wheel of this religion and never really ascend and never really understand yourself or know yourself completely?
Yeah, and I think I wanted to share this with you guys because I think it's just the epitome of what we're talking about. But I wouldn't call it an essay. It's I don't know, a gathering of facts. But it's titled "The Victims of the Christian Faith." Now,
mm,
I don't know much about Buddhism and the history of Hinduism and any of that in terms. I mean, I understand the religion and the hierarchy and those things, but I'm strictly talking about Christianity in this regard, right? So this essay essentially just goes through right around 300 BC or AD all the way up into present time, and it talks
mm,
about the amount of people that have been killed um, due to Christianity. And the Archbishop of Tyre, an eyewitness, right? This is an eyewitness to the Crusades, and I just want to share this with you. It was impossible to look upon the vast numbers of the slain without horror. Everywhere lay fragments of human bodies. The very ground was covered with blood of the slain. It was not alone the spectacle of headless bodies and the mutilated limbs shown in all directions that earned the horror of all who looked upon them. Okay, so you can envision this, right? Like a
Mhm.
Braveheart type scene, all in the name of Christianity, right? And then Christian chronicler Eckerd of Aurora noted that even the following summer in all of the Palestine, the air was polluted by the stench of decomposition. All right. And it goes on to basically talk about probably 20 million victims in the Holy Land. 20 million fucking people killed in the name of religion.
yep,
Come on, man.
yep.
Something wrong with that.
And it continues.
Yes, it
Oh yeah.
does.
Um, I mean, you're talking about the Crusades. I mean, that's Christian versus Islam fighting for land, fighting for who's going to be able to plant their flag and push their religion. I mean that,
That's
and
all
and
ego right there.
20
Ego.
million people, yeah, and then and it didn't, it didn't stop there because after that you got the Inquisition,
Hmm.
and basically where if you did not profess Christianity, or if you said anything against Christianity, that was considered heresy, and they would burn you, or they'd imprison you, or they'd banish you, all that, for hundreds of years. Um,
Which
it's
instilled fear in everybody, and that's the
Yeah,
fear
that's
that
that's the
everybody
conditioning
has.
aspect.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because look, I mean, look, if you want, if people want to talk Christianity, like when if you believe there was an actual Jesus Christ walking the earth, right? Let's just play that game. There was a Jesus Christ walking the earth, right? We'll say that,
Hmm.
okay?
Okay.
Well, if that's the case, all right, when he walked the earth, there were no Christians. He was a Nazarene. He wasn't a Christian. Christianity didn't get invented till 325 AD, which is what 300 years after, pretty much 300 years after he walked the earth, and the Council of Nicaea, where they brought in everybody and decided, okay, we're going to create Christianity, because you had people thinking that Jesus and God were equal. You had other people thinking, no, God is above Jesus, and didn't know what to believe. And then there were other people that believed that God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit were all equal. So they had to pick one. They decided to pick one. They went with it. They created Christianity, and the rest is fucking history. And then they went around killing everybody just to push that. And the Pope at the time, which is considered what the vicar of Christ, basically the walking Christ on earth, um, absolved them from it. Said, "Oh, it's okay if you kill, if you're killing in the name of Jesus." And I'm not making this shit up. Like that's real shit. And
Bro,
but think of that mindset. Like, and that's
yeah.
how the world was run.
So
Mm.
It's
so
okay
check
if
this
you
out.
kill, if you're killing in the name of Christ.
Wow.
1634, right? Smallpox killed, I don't know how many Native Americans, right? This is
That's
the
debatable.
governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony wrote. This is the mindset. For the natives, they are near all dead of the smallpox. As to the Lord hath cleared our title to what we possess.
Fuck,
Okay.
man.
Okay, cool. Cool. So you looked at natives less than, right? You
Mm,
looked as natives as
savages.
if they were not worthy of God's love because that's what you were taught, right? It's
Look,
crazy, man.
anything that's separation is just not God. God is just everything united. And there's no way you could ever, unless you've experienced that feeling, there's no way you can tell me that anyone, you can't say that, oh, I know God, or I believe in God, but then be separated by even having a label.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
that's separation.
hmm Which is honestly what religion has done. It's just divided. We're talked about, Keith, you brought up the Crusades. I mean, that is the ultimate division. The world was divided, basically. Christian or Islam. There were a few Jews sprinkled in there too, but they didn't have enough population to really do anything at the time. You know what I'm saying? Because you had the Roman Empire basically versus everyone else in the Middle East. So I mean, you're talking about world powers. That's like America going up against China right now. Which shit might happen while we bullshitting. But to get to add more onto it, like the origins of division and racism and societal separation comes from the Hindus and the caste system, because and Hinduism precedes Judaism and precedes Christianity and Islam. I mean, this is like the OG, just like the original gangster when it comes to fucking religion with the caste system, because in their system it doesn't matter what you do. If you were born into a family that was of a certain class, you are not going to nirvana. You are not ascending. You're coming back. So they broke it down in basically four categories, and only the top one was able to ascend. And if you are in the shit, I have them here. The Brahmin, that's the top, and then there's Kshatriya. Oh shit, Kshatriya.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, Vaishya and Shudra, which was the slave. So it didn't matter. It doesn't matter what your virtues were. It doesn't matter what your morals were. It doesn't matter how you lived your life. Based on those, that caste system, that social system told you that, hey, look, you're fucked. You're coming back into this world, no matter what. And that's going into the minds once again of people who were dumb, deaf, and blind, don't understand anything, and they're basically living their life knowing, oh shit, well, I got no chance. I'm not part of that upper class. That's the origins of this shit.
Man-made shit. Like I said,
Right.
man-made shit.
Right. And that's what,
Rules.
and look, us in our world, right? Everything we profess in the academy, Akasha, and everything we do, like a lot of the things, there's a lot of Hindu concepts, chakras per se, right? That's Hindu, right? That's Hinduism. A lot of concepts, principles that we talk about are from that. A lot of principles we talk about are in Buddhism. A lot of principles we talk about are in Christianity.
Right, and that's because it's all, again, truths layered in lies, and there's an aspect of truth within all of it. And you can call it chakras in one, you can call it energy centers in another, you can call it the nerve plexuses of the body, you can call it whatever you consciousness of each organ, whatever the fuck you want to call it, it's fucking there. Like
Right.
anatomically, as far as like, if you're telling me that I have a certain organ in my body and you have a certain organ, like that's a fact. Like I can see the fucking organ, and then of course they're gonna say, oh well, you can't see chakras, you can't see energy centers, but you can't see thoughts or emotions either. But they're fucking there.
Right. Right. And those are people who just haven't experienced like looking within and actually working with their own chakras and all those different aspects of it. And because people are stuck in the physical world, like they don't understand the ether. Everything
Right.
is touch, feel, just the basic five senses. They don't
Or it's
take it beyond that.
rejected because it's new age, right? Instead of
That's the new thing.
understanding
I was going to ask you
un
guys about that because there's
yeah.
a lot of people now talking about this quote unquote new age religion and just completely bashing everything we're about uh, because they think it's demonic and all this other bullshit.
Right.
Which is funny to me because all we're telling people to do literally is that they have power within themselves and to look within. That's literally the most simple way to say what we're talking about.
Take responsibility. That's it.
No, but they're scared of going within because they say that the devils are in there, demons are in there. It's like, what? Like,
The devils and the demons are in
demons are
there.
inside, but don't go in there.
You know,
What?
you know,
Like Jesus said, seek first the kingdom. And I already said the kingdom of God is within you. So why aren't you seeking it? Like that's exactly what it says. So it's like they don't even read what it is that it's saying. And most of them do, but they gloss over it because they don't understand that it's metaphorical or allegorical. They take it too literal, right? And so
Yep.
yeah, it's misunderstood.
And this is and here I will, how do I want to say this? This is where like I have issue with kind of the way things are. Like the Bible has amazing information in it when you know what it's saying metaphorically, allegorically, right?
Hmm.
And the way you break it down, Joanna, is amazing for anybody who hasn't had the opportunity to learn that. But it's really unfortunate that that information had to be given that way because we live in a world, at least right now, at least in this age, where people are extremely simple. Like they have not been able to attain the mental capability or even the level of consciousness to fathom the fact that the Bible or the Quran or the, whatever is basically metaphorical. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll make an analogy of rap music real quick, just because that's simple, right? There's a lot of people that just want to hear some very simple rap music. Like, okay, tell me about, your street life and your history, and you were broke and now you came up and now you're doing this. Very simple, right? Very simple. He tells me exactly, or he or she tells me exactly what I want to hear. Beats nice. I could vibe to it. We're good. That's the majority of people. But then there's that small select group of people that like, no, I need a little more, man. Give me some, let me think. Let me dig deep. Let me hear some metaphors. Let me hear some real deep, knowledge based lyrics and this, that, and the other. You know, and that's how society is. Like most people are simple. They just want them. It's a microwave society. They just want to give it to them. So it's kind of unfortunate that someone would have to pick up a Bible and actually dissect it versus, oh shit, it told me that Jesus hung on a cross and he died and then he rose and then, and then now I have to live my life. He died for my sins and I have to live my life for Christ, blah, 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 blah. Or, Noah had an actual ark and the world ended and he had all the, all that basic shit. You feel what I'm saying?
Right. But their consciousness is basic right now. Right. And so there's going to be that small percentage that the consciousness is more, understanding and dissects this information and passes it along to those other small percentage. And eventually, when everybody else is ready, they start to dig deep. Because yes, I get it. But if you just flat out told them, then where's the work? Like, you know what I mean? Like they need to put the work themselves. And the only way that you could start seeing this is when you start going within and start meditating.
But why? Why does there have to, like, think about everything we talk about and everything we do, manifesting, meditating, becoming the best version of ourselves, all that. Why do we have to work so hard just to decipher what we're supposed to do? Not do it, but actually decipher the instructions of what we're supposed to do.
Because the people that you brought up the Bible, right? The Bible was
Yeah.
written in layers so that information can be retained and passed on without it being
Too corrupted.
Right. Right. We need to create a book that's going to survive the time that still holds the ultimate truths that we're discussing, but is only available to those that want to see, right? That want to see, right? So much in the way that it's funny to me, right? Because America was created much in the same way, right? Oh, we have to protect this. We have to create this document, this Declaration of Independence that pronounces us as freedom, and people have freedoms that like they've never had before. Freedom of religion, all the shit we're talking about, right? But yet in America, Columbus, you know how many people that motherfucker killed? We have a holiday for
Yeah.
Columbus, and you allow it. And the truth, we celebrate, you know, people, I don't know if people actually fucking celebrate it, but the point is if you don't celebrate it, it's still in your mind. And it's the shit we talk about. The truth is right in your fucking face, and you choose not to do anything about it. You choose to celebrate a day in which people were murdered. Many, 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 many fucking people murdered, and you celebrate it. It's a mindset, man.
But that's
it's a mindset.
But what you just said, the truth is right in your face. That's right in our face. For the average person, they could see. Like you go to school and you learn about what Columbus did. Like
but that's
it's
external,
right in your face.
because it's external. But because everything that's this book is spiritual, therefore you have to remove yourself from the physical world and go into the non-physical to be able to download and get these messages and for them to be right in front of your face. If you just stay in the external world, I mean, you're just going to take it externally, and that's just going to be nothing. It's going to be bullshit.
No, I get that. I just think now, who am I to speak upon what the creator or whatever the collective consciousness or the Akashic record or whatever the fuck, decided on how this should actually play out. But I just think that the way it was done could have been done a lot better for the collective consciousness of the world because of what these books and these religions have done to people. Like millions
True.
of people dead, billions of people, minds corrupted, indoctrinated, conditioned, brainwashed because a book decided to get cute and fucking put some metaphors in there instead of just telling us what the fuck to do.
Well, no. Okay, so yes and no, because we also have to look at the seasons of our lives and the seasons of like the golden age, the iron age, the silver age, the bronze age, whatever. It all has its seasons, right? And if we were in the iron age, yes, that's when they had to dumb everything down and control everybody, because that's when everybody's at their lowest consciousness. So, think about us being in that golden age and wanting to pass along this information as it goes down, knowing that the seasons are going to go from golden to bronze to silver to iron, and still retain this spiritual deep information that's going to go from mystic to mystic or whatnot, until we come back and reincarnate into remembering this shit that we ourselves put in there. It has to be based on the seasons. So in a way, it's kind of part of the story.
Look, you asked the question, why is it so fucking hard, right? It's so fucking hard because we've been so fucking disconnected from what it truly is, from what the experience of being connected with God truly is. And that's all by design. We've been told a story, we've been sold a story, and we've grown up, and it's been repetitive, right? Over and over again, ingraining this in our minds.
It's a Santa Claus story.
Right? It's a Santa Claus story. So why is it so hard? It's hard because you can't just like the Christopher Columbus Day thing, right? Everything is in your face. All of it is in your face. The Bible is written. It says right there, the fucking firmament. The fucking firmament says it, right? But the same preacher, the same Christian, the same person, well, no, I didn't mean that. Or they'll ignore it, or they'll wipe it to the side, and it doesn't fit the narrative because that's not the narrative they've been taught. That's not the narrative their parents have been taught. Right? So as an example, you get that, and we have these conversations about flat earth and this, that, and the other, but it fucking says it in the Bible that you proclaim to be the end all be all, right? So the Bible purposely was written to be confusing because that's the thing. Is it like,
that's how you find it. That's the treasure. It's a treasure hunt game.
It is. No, I mean, I agree. Oh, go ahead.
And you can't, like, nobody sold this to you, right? Nobody sold you this fucking path. Nobody sold you this path. Nobody sold me this path. I'm being sold religion every day in the fucking mail, man. People
Right.
knock on my fucking door, man. There's a Bible in every fucking hotel, dude. I'm being sold that shit 24/7. They ain't nobody sell me shit on this path because
Mm.
there's nothing to sell, right? If you want to honor your temple, you have to treat your temple like you mean it, right? You don't eat McRibs and chips and fucking milkshakes and Starbucks and not give a fuck and then pop your pills every night because your doctor told you to. That's not honoring your temple,
That's disconnection.
right? I'm so sorry, my Christian
No.
people,
Hey, man.
but I have been in many churches in my experience, this is my fucking experience, and I've seen people that could barely walk, man, that are overweight, claiming that they know God, yet having no responsibility for their bodies, man. Right? Like, I personally, if you're fat as a preacher, I don't want to hear shit you got to say because you don't understand. You may be super knowledgeable about aspects of the Bible, but I can't listen to you, man, because I don't respect you because you're not honoring a third of the fucking equation.
Mm.
And that religion doesn't talk about this, man.
No.
Right? It doesn't talk about the physical body. And the physical body is the fucking engine that makes it work.
It's the vehicle for God
that
to
makes your
express
connection
itself.
to God possible.
Yes.
And if you treat it like shit, you're disconnecting. So why is it so fucking hard? Because nobody understands that.
Yeah.
Because we've been taught.
And the people that do take care of their bodies are too busy Instagramming and doing it for all the fucking wrong reasons.
Yep.
So that's why it's so hard.
It's so hard. It really is.
I mean, look, I love it. I love it.
Path
I
is
love this
narrow.
conversation. I do. Because like we're just between us three, like we have different perspectives on it. You know what I'm saying? And I totally respect exactly where you guys are coming from because it does make sense. And you know, I've definitely been more open-minded when it comes to the Bible, you know, after listening to you guys, for sure. Doesn't change the fact that religion is, you know, everything we're saying it is, an absolute bullshit in so many different aspects. In fact, we were in Fort Worth a couple weeks ago and just walking downtown, and there was like about 5 different groups of Jehovah's Witnesses just stopping people, protesting because people were playing music in the little downtown area. You know what I'm saying? Like, just just completely ridiculous. And you see it every day how it's all playing out in politics and pretty much every aspect of life. When you have a country that's divided, and a big part of that division is religion, is conservatism and whatnot. So it's hard for me, coming from where I came from, to look at the Bible in a positive light because of all of the negative damage it has done. It's not to say that there's not gems in there. And you know what I'm saying? It's just it's hard for me to see that.
But that's like blaming the gun and not the shooter, right? Like, the Bible is just the gun, unfortunately.
Yeah, but it's a gun that if you looked at it literal, which most people do, it's shooting motherfuckers in there too. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
I hear you.
And that's where the levels
sure.
of consciousness come in. Like, you know, the ones that know, the ones that truly know.
Well, that would be the shooter.
But check it. But
that's
check
still
it,
the
though.
shooter.
But check it though. If I'm smart, right?
Yeah.
Then I need to feed the ego of the people, because the ego of the people that preach the egoic aspect of the Bible keep it alive, right? They keep it alive.
Yeah.
Yes, they doctor it, but they keep it alive, and that's fucking important. If I want a document to survive, if I want a manuscript to last the test of time, or at least, you know, I think one day people are going to look back at the Bible like 2000, 4000, when we enter a higher phase of light body, they're gonna be like, man, that's hilarious. It's like a comic book. You know
right.
That's how it's gonna be. But yeah, man. I mean, and I think too, like, Christianity used to be spread by death, right? Like death. They go with death and kill the motherfucker. If you don't believe in God, fuck you, get out. and you know, and then it transformed into something different. And it's like, now, you know, you guys heard about what happened in Baltimore and Maryland, right? The Archdiocese of Maryland. Don't know about this?
No.
Maybe.
600 children have been admitted to being molested
Oh
by
Jesus.
150 different priests. Okay.
Right.
Now you want to talk about mind control over Debo. This has been going on for 40, 50, 60 years. These kids have kids at this point. You want to create a spider web like effect of corrupting the mind of people. Fuck with them when they're young. Molest them, dude. And what's crazy is and I think about this from a priest standpoint. It's like 150 priests, 600 kids. That's 4 kids per priest. And I know this is like fucked up, but that ain't a lot of kids, man, over a 30-year period. Like that's like once every 7 to 10 years.
But that's just what they've told. You
I
don't
know,
know how
but
many
my
more.
point is that like as a priest who took a vow to uphold the highest of the high, supposedly, how the fuck can this shit happen? Right? So it's a difference of people aren't getting murdered, man. People are getting fucked with in their mind because
And
it's evolved into something else. It's evolved into a deeper subconscious rooted
And a lot
thing.
of people turn the other way. Like you tell them this or they hear about this and then, okay. And then they continue to just disregard it as if it's not a thing. It's a thing.
So
well,
it's like, and
just to go ahead.
like one of my motivations of like of reading the viewpoint of the person, right, of the facts of the, you know, $3 billion, man, is how much the Catholic Church has paid out in child lawsuits. $3 billion with a B
That's
dollars, right?
ridiculous.
Part of the reason is because like what are you you're tithing, you're giving your hard-earned money, man. You know, like stop fucking giving it to an institution that does these things and go out and fucking help somebody, like for real, right? Like build your community up, you know, not fucking invest money into a church. And there's some great churches out there, sorry, but still,
Mm.
it's more
And
powerful, man.
shit, it's not even just Catholicism, Christianity, because you guys see what happened with the Dalai Lama,
Yep.
motherfucker
Yep.
putting his tongue
Suck
in a
my
boy's
tongue.
mouth. You know what I'm saying? And they
Mm.
brushed that shit off like it wasn't no big deal. You know?
And
Well, you
again,
know who he hangs with. So.
I hate to bring it back to it, but part of the physical, maybe a good segue, part of the physical is we do not respect the institution of sex. We do not understand what sex is about. We've been lied to. We've been told it's for pleasure. It's not, it is for pleasure, but a much deeper and more gratifying pleasure than you could possibly fucking imagine, right? We've been lied to about that. So if I corrupt your physical and I corrupt you sexually, you're done, man.
Why do you think
So
there's seminary schools? So they teach about all the semen and semen retention and all that stuff, but they go all the way in the opposite direction. It's like you can't. It's just they suppress all of this. They don't understand, so they suppress it all, and then that's how they end up letting it out.
here's what's even crazier. You know, you talked about people looking the other way. You know, with all of the allegations, and it's not even allegation; it's fucking truth of what's going on in the Catholic Church, right? But people still show up on Sunday, show up at mass, show up donating. You know, look at their priest like it's God himself. You know what I'm saying, or
Yo,
her
they
herself.
the Archdiocese of Maryland got a 1.2 on Yelp on Google. 1.2.
That's crazy. But think about this: like those people will still support them, yet motherfuckers get canceled like us if
Hmm.
we say something about, you know, somebody being overweight or somebody, you know, doing this, that, and the other, or we don't feel this person, you know, fucking Dave Chappelle said a joke and we cancel him, but we're gonna still go to the Catholic Church on Sunday and support these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? How's the Catholic Church not been canceled?
Because they're still following their rules that they have ingrained in their mind that they have to follow.
You
Mm,
guys seen what's the movie with the vampires and Bella? What's that series?
Twilight.
You seen Twilight?
yeah,
So
It took him a second.
yeah, but like what
it's
what I
been a
really
minute, but
love
yeah.
what I really love about Twilight, an aspect that I really really love, and I didn't fall in love with this until I became more, I guess, enlightened per se. I started to understand what we're talking about. Is that the Volturi is this like all powerful group that monitors what every little Dracula person does in the entire world,
Vampire. Uh-huh.
vampire does in the entire world, right? It's like the Vatican, right? and they're laced in hypocrisy, and they do everything for their own benefit, but they have mind control over these vampires that we will fuck you up, we will come in and destroy you. And this guy's built an army that's powerful enough to put this mindset out into his little vampires all across the world. And it's only until he realizes that he's gonna get fucked up that he actually relinquishes and walks away. And I just think it's fucking hilarious,
That's
man, because
true.
that's such a beautiful
Wow.
metaphor, I think,
Yes.
for like what religion is. And it's yeah, I didn't learn to appreciate that until later.
For sure.
Nice.
And my favorite part, dude, if you've seen the movies, at the end, the dude like puts his hands out and he's like, "Take me, finally," because he's so over the bullshit.
Right,
He's like, "I'm so tired of this bullshit." And my thing is, and I'll shut the fuck up here, is that if religion was what it was meant to be, if it was accomplishing, much like the pharmaceutical industry, what it was meant to accomplish, and much like the FDA and all their bullshit, then why would he be doing that? Because he sees through the bullshit. He's tired of the fucking lies, because it's not the path. It's just a part of the path. And
Yep.
it's meant to be that way, just like Rapunzel. I need to keep you in this castle, because the minute, right, you go outside this castle and spread your light to the dudes in the bar, right, and you fall in love and you realize where you really came from, which was a kingdom, which was a castle, which was light, right, which was the floating fucking lanterns. You'll see what your mom really is, and you'll see the truth.
Mm.
And you can't you can't
You can't come back to that and be controlled, because at the end of the day they need to control, because they want that power.
Yes.
And that
Yes.
power comes from the darkness, etc. And
From the
if they take that veil off of everybody, which it says there's a veil on everybody that they can't see. So once you take that veil off and everybody is to see who they truly are, then they don't need them anymore. And that money's going to go somewhere else. They're not going to need money, because they'll realize that they could just be of service to everybody. But that's like
the
forever from
church
here.
and the government, the only place where performance doesn't matter. Only place where performance doesn't matter. I don't know about you, with my job, I don't perform, I get kicked the fuck out.
Well, yeah.
I fuck up, I get kicked the
Get
fuck
that
out.
pink
In
slip
government,
quick.
in government and religion, hey, you're promoted.
You're good.
Great, good job. Keep
Yep.
it up.
Yep. 100%. I mean, look. I mean, shit. Everyone talks about Armageddon, right? Like the etymology of Armageddon is removing the veil. Like that's what the fuck Armageddon means. You know what I'm saying?
Revelation.
So, I mean,
They got you believing Armageddon's for you, and Armageddon's really for them.
Well,
It's their Armageddon. It's not yours.
that's crazy.
Well, it's your own revelation too. I mean,
revelation. I mean, the breakdown of that, reveal, right? Like
Right,
it's
right.
it's revealing everything. And that's, yeah, like you said, that's a personal thing. That's not a worldly thing. That's a personal thing.
just like Jesus coming back, that's a personal thing. Jesus comes back within you, as in your consciousness comes back, your memory comes back, as in your hippocampus, which is your memory bank, actually gets hit and tickled, and then you have this memory of who you are.
Heavy. Heavy.
Mm.
Oh man. It's good shit. It's good shit. And it's funny because like I know people will listen to this and some will take it, you know, and probably have to listen to it twice to kind of get an idea of a lot of the things we're talking about. But like that curiosity, I think, is going to be extremely important. There's some that is just it's above them right now, and that's okay. They might come back to it later. You know what I mean?
Well, because it kind of comes off as like bashing it, of course. And so
Yeah.
what happens if you're conditioned and you believe in something and someone's bashing it? You're going to defend it.
You're gonna
And
get
so
defensive.
you're going to get defensive, and then you're not going to be able to have those. That's why I said you had to have your mind open and your walls down.
That in and of itself is exactly what the fuck we're talking about. That's the mindset, right? Like if you're offended because we're reading facts and talking about the number of millions of billions of people that have been affected, and the kids that have been molested, and the minds that have been fucked and warped from this institution that we call religion, and you're fucking offended by that, like what's really going on, man? Are you like, how much stock you got in the game? Right? Like like, come on, man. And so like that's the place it's coming from. Yes. You know, Joanna said a funny thing earlier, right? She's like, you know, you're on your path, right? Everybody's on their path.
Yep.
You're on your path. You are where you are. If you're offended, cool. You are where you are. But guess what? It's only just no matter what anybody else tells you, the truth is that your job is to figure out why you got offended. That's your job. That ain't mine. It's yours. And if you want to become more enlightened, if you want to know thyself, spend some time figuring out why the fuck you got angry, why the fuck you got offended because I said something about a religion. Because guess what? You can't say shit to me that would offend me in my world in terms of what I believe in, because I don't give a fuck. Because I know the truth, right? I know my truth. Shout out to Couples Retreat. I know my truth, man. And when you know your truth, like I don't feel what a waste of time to be offended by you, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you don't understand what I understand.
Well, here's real quick. Okay,
Fucking waste of time.
So religion, what I hear a lot is people saying it's like a forcing of you have to believe. It's the whole believe in him. Like if but I posted this the other day after Easter. It's like it's not about believe that he existed. It's not about that. It's more than that, because it says believe in me and the works that I do, or in the works, or in me and the work on me. Believe on me and the works I do, meaning actually walk the walk, and then you'll see what's up. But because they don't walk the walk, they just believe in the man, they're missing out on 95% of what that statement is saying.
Oh yeah. Yep. A quick story. Like when I was I think I was in 8th grade, and this dude I went to school with tried to convert me to Christianity or whatever. And he was giving me all this stuff or whatever. I went to church with him a few times, and I remember one of his big things was like, man, you got to stop listening to music with explicit lyrics. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, man. There's a lot of Christian rap out there. Check it out. He gave me a few people here and there, whatever. And I checked them out, and I was like, yeah, whatever, whatever. And I remember like a few weeks later, I was listening to I don't know who it was, but who I normally listen to. And he just got extremely mad and wouldn't talk to me anymore. Just extremely pissed off because I didn't give up my music, because that was like a prerequisite to be a part of this church and this Christian club. You know what I mean? But that's like, once again, missing the point of what it's all about, and focused on these details that truly mean absolutely nothing in the big scheme of things. You know what I'm saying?
Now I can see how explicit, language and frequencies can affect our electromagnetic sphere and our energies
Energy,
and
for sure.
all
100%.
that stuff, and how 100%. It should be. But to force it on somebody is a whole, and to not talk to them and to separate yourself from them, that's a whole nother story. It's like, you do you, boo. Right. I shouldn't be upset or care about what you do upset. Because you're
mad.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Because he thought he sold you, and then
exactly.
you bought elsewhere.
And because he saw within him that he was choosing freedom, he was choosing to do what he wanted to do, and he stuck following rules. So really, deep down inside, he's mad that he's following rules, and his spirit doesn't sit well with that.
And let's talk real talk, man. You got daughters, right? You got a daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I got a daughter. You know what, man? Pop that pussy didn't sound the same after I had a daughter as it did before.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, Uncle Luke didn't hit like he hit before I had a good little girl.
Right.
Because that's somebody's little girl that Uncle Luke is talking about. Yeah. I didn't understand that until I had my own.
Shout out to all the girl dads out there.
Yeah.
No,
I had a point, and I don't even know what it was.
Oh shit,
man!
But yeah, man, you can't know until you know, and when you know, and the truth is the truth, and there's no reason to sell it, man. It just doesn't. And please understand, man, this isn't like, I don't want anybody thinking that we think we're better than anybody else. Far from the fucking truth, right? Like, I don't know where I stack up.
We still got a lot of work.
Like,
to do.
I got so much work to do, as you could probably tell. You're probably mad at me already for all the shit I've said, right? But there's no looking down upon, man.
Nah,
every challenge in my life is an opportunity for growth. And I think if you want to take a path towards true, I guess, inner religion, just start thinking in those terms, right? Everything you get upset about is there it is like a sickness. It is there for you to analyze, understand, comprehend, go within, transform, because there's a lesson in that. And if you want to walk the right path, That's the path. Fix it every step of the way. Because your job, in my opinion, as a Christian, as anyone of any member of any religion, is to resonate light. Is to like glow. You know what I mean? That's your job, is to glow. Because the more you glow, the more the energy again transfers to other people, and we take back what is ours, which is our connection to God, the true religion, right?
So let's say religion. Remember when I was talking about what is the etymology of religion? Obligation, bond, perhaps based on Latin religarse, to bind.
Mm,
In your face. It's in your face.
Just
yep.
like government is to govern your
To
mind.
control the mind. All right.
Yep.
And the last thing I'll say is, look, everybody out there, whatever religions you've been exposed to, whatever religions you follow, or whatever religions you will be exposed to, what I implore is that you do your research, because it is man-made. You know what I'm saying? It was created for a reason. Most of them borrow concepts from ones before it. So before you start bad mouthing another religion, realize where the one you're practicing actually came from. And
Yep.
do your research, do your due diligence. And if after all of that, you feel that, this is the right path for you, then hey, so be it. More power to you. But at least take that accountability, because when you put that much energy into something, it has a ripple effect, not only on yourself, but the people around you, your kids. And that's how generational things start and whatnot. So do that due diligence, understand what you're getting into, and ultimately, go with what feels best for you at the end of the day. And that is, like Joanna would say, looking within yourself. How does it feel? How does it resonate? And go from there.
Hell yeah. No, and I'm just gonna say, like, I remember when my daughter was young, and I said, okay, I guess this is time to start reading the Bible, and we started reading the Bible together, and then I was like, hold up. And I started going, what am I teaching her? I know a snake doesn't really talk. What does this really mean? And that's, I was like, let's put a pause on this. And then here was my entire story of, waking up and realizing some stuff, and then going deeper into metaphysical ministry and understanding it on a deeper level, and finally seeing it for what it truly made sense now, versus being confused before and asking so many questions. Now it just, the answers are all right there, and they sit right. It makes sense. It's digestible. It's achievable. It's all these things that before it just wasn't. And it took me wanting to teach my kids to realize, okay, what the fuck am I teaching them? So I think that's a really good thing to, for everybody to just research. Yeah, everybody has a different piece of the puzzle, but you put it all together and it comes down to the same thing. You just have to find it. Drop the mic. So I think we're done for tonight, guys. Good talk. Good talk.
All right. All right. It was good. It was fun. Shit. I'm sure we'll talk about this again. I have a feeling we will. So,
Whew.
that.